Hello there, film fanatics. Welcome to Epic Film Sleuth. On our today's menu, we serve you a brand new action horror film called The Gorge, which came out just this year. So just hold tight as this thrilling ride inside the Gorge will send shivers down your spine, except Miles Teller, who's hell-bent on killing the atrocious creature that is nested there. The placement of romance in this horror movie is something we all crave for. So let's not wait any further and start our recap. Spoilers ahead, so watch at your own risk. The film begins with a Russian super spy named Drasa hiding thousands of feet away from her target, a notorious terrorist. As she takes the shot and kills him the second he gets off his private jet, the scenes spin to our second lead, Levi. He's a retired US militant who now suffers from nightmares and pursues poetry to ease his mind. He gets a message from the military that they are coming to pick him up. The colonel is seen obeying an elderly woman who's the epitome of evil. Through tricky questions, she finds out Levi is alone and has no one to count on. Based on this and his perfect gunmanship, she assigns him a one-year guard duty on a mysterious gorge she can't disclose the details of. Levi has nothing better to do, so he signs the contract. Meanwhile, Drasa visits her depressed father on her mother's grave to update him that she's going away on a new gig for a year. His father, tired of being alone, decides to commit suicide on Valentine's Day and doesn't let Drasa change his mind. On the contrary, Levi gains consciousness on a plane and realizes he was sedated on his way. In the middle of nowhere, the pilots tell him to jump wearing a parachute bag. Levi journeys alone in the wilderness to get to a point where the previous guard excitedly meets him and brings him to the tower. Before leaving, he dictates to Levi how to take care of the automatic weaponry rigged on the gorge rim and reveals they are protecting the world from what's inside the gorge, Hollow Men. There are also cloak machines that trick the satellites and hide the gorge from the world. Levi notices a tower on the east side, where the Russians guard the gorge from their side. When the previous guard leaves, Levi eats dinner alone and indulges in mundane tasks. The next day, the previous guard excitedly signals the helicopter by lighting up a red gas bomb. They throw down a rope for him to climb. When he does, they shoot him dead, revealing Levi is in bigger trouble. In oblivion, Levi takes a stroll on the rim and checks all the systems. He returns to the tower and reports everything to the authorities that sent him here. He wishes to ask something, but they hang up and tell him to wait for another month. To pass the time, Levi looks around and discovers a wall behind the bookshelf where the previous guards have written poetic quotes. Later, he takes a peek at the east side through the binoculars and spots Drasa there. Despite Levi being thousands of feet away, Drasa looks back at him as if she sensed someone's watching her. The following night, Levi wakes up troubled and picks up his gun to shoot what is haunting him. He ends up injuring his foot with a shard of glass. Out of boredom, he takes another peek at Drasa, who immediately blows out her candles to attain privacy. Later that night, Drasa realizes it's her birthday and writes Levi a note before firing in the air. When Levi looks at the note through his binoculars, he becomes excited yet composed to see Drasa wanting to know him. He writes back and refuses to exchange information, but she claims it's her birthday. Levi gives in and celebrates her birthday from thousands of feet away by raising his glass. Drasa puts on music and dances while forcing Levi to take a sniper shot at her champagne bottle to show his skills. Their noise lures some hollow men on both ends. Drasa is so busy shooting the ones on Levi's end that the hollow men on her side climb her tower. Levi shoots and activates the automatic weaponry on her side, which fries the hollow men. As soon as the sun rises, both of them get back to fixing the damage they've caused. While Drasa watches Levi hang the bombs on the rim, a drone hovers around him and identifies his face before vanishing. The two ignore what just happened as they're more interested in each other right now. In a time lapse, we see them bonding. Drasa brings out Levi's bright side by making him play the drums and play chess with her. Soon comes Valentine's Day, which devastates Drasa since her father's taking his life today. She shares with Levi that she desperately seeks company. Levi anticipates the next morning and builds a zip line between the two ends. He attaches a thick cable to a bazooka and launches it towards the east side. Drasa puts out the fire caused by the bazooka and ties the cable to a tree. They get back to the tower, where Levi asks her for a dinner date. He gets stuck in the middle of the zip line because the zip line isn't slanted enough. He redeems his firm grip to crawl the rest of the zip line. When he arrives at Drasa's end, he compliments her eyes and gives her flowers as a first-time courtesy. In return, Drasa lets him know he smells and that he should shower in the bathroom outside the tower. Drasa forgets about her father and enjoys every minute of her time with Levi. They eat her rabbit pie and talk about the top 5 sniper shots in the world that have been embedded in history. They eventually end up getting intimate, after which they sit outside on the terrace. Drasa confesses her father's suicide made her gloomy and depressed. Levi confesses that he's a poet who has already started writing a poem on Drasa. She finds it very romantic and wishes to see it, but Levi shies away and doesn't show her. The next morning, when Drasa kisses him goodbye and he gets back to the zipline, a sensory bomb explodes on his end after detecting something. This breaks his cable, throwing him down the gorge. He luckily has a parachute on. Drasa doesn't take a minute to think and jumps right after him. She falls into the river with such pressure that her auto-ascender gets lost in the darker pits of the river. We witness Levi trapped in a human-sized centipede's trap. He shoots the bug and falls off the tree, but the ground grows claws and starts engulfing him. Drasa hears his screams and quickly runs to save him. She shoots all the claws and cuts off the slimy gunk that's glued to Levi's jacket. While he admires her for coming after him, the Hollow Men ambush them on horses. They open fire to chase them away and kill one, who has an old military uniform on and is turned into dried branches. The gorge is severely contaminated by chemicals, which have formed a thick mist all over the place. Both refusing to discover the evil lingering around, look for the auto-ascender and realize it drowned in the river. Sealing their fate, they walk ahead and discover a small town. They head inside a church where hundreds of mutated spiders with human skulls attack them. When the Hollow Men double their trouble, Drasa bombs the wall and escapes with Levi. They end up sneaking inside the tower walls and barricading the gate from the inside. They discover an old lab with a film tape. It turns out to be a confession of the doctor running the operations. She discloses that the government funded them to build something as destructive as an atomic bomb, so they started filling rocket missiles with biochemicals. Unfortunately, an earthquake caused their missiles to leak and contaminate the entire town, causing them to switch their DNA with animals and plants. Hence, the Hollow Men came to be. Levi and Drasa find a computer lab, which exposes a private organization conducting secret research on the Gorge to enhance army soldiers. Levi figures the evil woman in the beginning runs the entire project. Now the two head back to get Drasa's bag, which turns out to be a trap Drasa gets caught up in. The Hollow Man rides his horse and drags Drasa away by the rope that's tied to her feet. She tries to cut loose, but faints due to the harsh ground and obstacles. Levi comes after her and discovers a missile silo. Drasa, meanwhile, gets tortured by the Hollow Man. She attempts to fight back, but the creature nearly kills her. Levi comes to her rescue and shoots the Hollow Man dead. The two snoop around to find the leaking missile. The chemicals are harboring hundreds of Hollow Men in a gleaming yellow gunk that moves and attacks Drasa. Drasa bombs the moving gunk and gets out with Levi. They return to the abandoned town, where they discover a rusty old Jeep with a lever system on its hood. They drive it back to the east side and attach the lever to the broken cable. Both take turns and guard one another by shooting the Hollow Men. Once the Jeep starts climbing the wall, the Hollow Men grow in number and climb behind them. They shoot as many as they can until they run out of ammo. At last, they cut the Jeep's propane tank, which showers on the Hollow Men. Levi torches them along with the Jeep and climbs the rest of the wall with Drasa. When they get back up, they plan on quarantining themselves to see if they're infected. They rebuild the zip line, through which Levi returns to his tower and reports to the authorities that everything is in its place. They connect her to the evil woman, to whom Levi lies about everything. Unfortunately, she was keeping an eye on Levi through hidden cameras and now comes after him to kill him. The next morning, both lovers take a walk on their ends and confess their love through notes. The evil woman shows up with her men and ransacks Levi's tower to find dirt on him. She authorizes killer drones to identify Levi and Drasa and kill them. The drones detect both of them and try their best, but Levi and Drasa take their shots and shut all of them down. They now begin bombing the cloaks for the Gorge to be discovered by the world. An emergency siren wails, which alerts the evil woman of the upcoming danger. She immediately gets back on her helicopter and tries fleeing, but gets killed in a huge explosion that wipes out every shred of evidence about the Gorge Tower on their end. Levi also jumps in the river to save himself from the explosion. Drasa stays there for weeks and waits for Levi to show up. She finally read the poetry Levi handed to her before things went down. She reads it by the seashore and decides to get back to the real world. She continues being a waitress in a small town in France. Months later, Levi tracks her down and vows to continue living a normal life with her. Here, the film ends. If you have come this far, you owe us a subscribe. Stay tuned, and until we meet again.